Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to our read-along for 2024, Frank Herbert's masterpiece, Dune. We are dealing with Outcast in the Wilderness. We are concentrating for these few chapters on Paul Atreides, the heir to the destroyed House Atreides, and his mother, the Lady Jessica, an adept of the Bene Gesserit, an all-female sect of super nuns, who have been working hard to create something called the Kwisatz Haderach, a man with all the totality of the physical and mystical powers that the Bene Gesserit women have. It's never made clear to me at any point anywhere in the extended Dune universe why the Bene Gesserit would want to do that, or why in a million years they would think that such a being would be under their control if they did. But they do, nevertheless. We, the reader, have seen Paul tested by a Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit to find out whether or not he's human, but also to probe whether or not he is, in fact, the Kwisatz Haderach. He isn't the child that Lady Jessica was supposed to have born to the late Duke. She was supposed to have born him a daughter. But she bore him a son instead because she knew he wanted one. Is it possible that that has disarranged everything? Is it possible that the careful breeding program of the Bene Gesserit has produced the Kwisatz Haderach early in unforeseen circumstances? Well, we know already that Paul is unusual. He has been given extensive military training by his father's advisors, and he's been given extensive bodily and psychological and social training by his mother in the Bene Gesserit way. But it's more than that. He has visions of the future. He has prescient visions. And they are confusing him all the more now because the signature thing, the thing that jumps out from one of those visions, was a young woman in a vision, in a weird world, who's saying to him, "Tell me about the waters of your home world, Usul." And Paul is wondering, well, what planet is called Usul? Or is she calling me Usul? And who is she? And what does that mean? And in the last chapter, when Paul and Jessica were on the run, they're in the desert, they encounter a band of Fremen. When they encounter these people, Paul suddenly sees her. He has now met her. Chani is her name. And it's a tense moment. Jessica has to prove that she is well worth the tribe's attention, even though she's not trained to the desert. She does prove that. So she and Paul are taken in temporary cognizance of the tribe, and they go on their way. They're making their way through one night's travel after another, avoiding Harkonnen patrols and heading towards Seast Harbor, the Stilgar's home base. But along the way, they can't help but learn more about each other. And Jessica is learning more and more about the seeds that the Bene Gesserit itself has planted on this world blindly. There's a branch of the Bene Gesserit called the Missionaria Protectiva, sisters who go out into alien wild worlds and sow the seeds of mythology that are not designed to bear any fruit for the sowers. They're designed to bear fruit down the line. Get people ready for the appearance, prime them with words and phrases and languages that some future sister in need might need. And Jessica is more and more impressed with the work that the Missionaria Protectiva have done to the Fremen on Dune, because they are primed to receive a Messiah from the outside world whose mother will be a holy figure, and who will have a lot of the qualities of a Bene Gesserit. Jessica is able to step into this mythology almost without effort. The transition is barely any friction at all. So she is working her way into figuring out the work that long dead sister did on this planet in order to prime the Fremen for her and her son. She is, in other words, going about the normal everyday work of survival, learning the ways of these people, establishing a rapport with Stilgar himself, but one that does not in any way apply that she is in his harem or part of his bedroom or anything like that, an independence from him that he can respect and also rely on. Paul is getting to know these people, including Chani, and something else is happening. That is the day-to-day survival stuff that they're both concerned with, Jessica more than Paul. But something else is happening. It was bound to happen. Because one thing that we know about the spice melange, which is all over the planet Arrakis, it's only found on the planet Dune. One thing that we know is that it's everywhere. A couple of characters have already pointed that out. Even before the downfall of House Atreides, a couple of characters point out, well, the thing about the spices, it's everywhere here. It's in the air you breathe. It's in the food you eat. It's in everything. If you become a total addict, you lose the whites of your eyes. You get blue on blue eyes. none of the Duke's people have that quite yet, but the spice is still everywhere. And the spice, in addition to all of its other qualities, exaggerates, encourages, incites prescience, the ability to see along paths to the future, which Paul already is exhibiting. He was exhibiting it before he had any spice in his system at all, before he came to Dune. It stands to reason that the more spice he is in contact with, especially if he starts to eat spice, the more that will be exaggerated. And that prescience of his that's allowing him to see his own future and the future of the people around him is also the thing that allows him to be aware of some horrible lurking thing in his future, his terrible purpose. There's something coming. There's something huge in his future that will either kill him or that will kill damn near everyone else. And it's huge and ominous, and he doesn't have the correct contours of it because he does not have prescience yet. Not fully. It's scattershot and it's native born. It's not enhanced by the spice. Now, future readers of the book know what that is. They know what that huge thing is in the future. Paul Atreides is going to change the entire galaxy. And he's going to do it largely through prescience, but also through these very Fremen who are around him. But he doesn't know that yet. He has no idea. All he knows is that in this enclosure, where he and his mother are now, he is directly ingesting spice. And this is having an effect on his prescience. We're told in grasping the present, he felt for the first time the massive steadiness of time's movement everywhere, complicated by shifting currents, waves, surges, and counter-surges like surf against rocky cliffs. It gave him a new understanding of his prescience, and he saw the source of blind time, the source of error in it, with an immediate sensation of fear. The prescience, he realized, was an illumination that incorporated the limits of what it revealed, at once a source of accuracy and meaningful error. A kind of Heisenberg indeterminacy intervened. The expenditure of energy that revealed what he saw changed what he saw. Which, on the surface, with a description like that, and that, keep in mind, that's one of the first descriptions, one of the first attempts that Frank Herbert makes to describe his idea of prescience. It gets a lot more refined from here on out. That description there would mean that prescience is useless. there is no future written, so there's no way to see it. If merely looking at it changes it, then what's the difference between someone who's prescient and someone who's not? It's going to get a lot more determinate than that, of course. Later on in this long, long story, Paul is prescient to such a degree that even without eyes, he knows where to put his feet. He can look in the future and see which step is there. So it does become a lot more precise than that. But for now, the fear is the key here. The fear is that Paul is realizing in this chapter, which really does not much. It gives us a little bit more of Jessica's indoctrination into maybe becoming a reverend mother for the Fremen. It gives us a little bit more of Paul's indoctrination into the tribe. It hits the note once more that the man that Paul disabled, Jamis, is still rancorous. He's not happy at all. He's brooding in a way that Fremen tend not to do. He doesn't like Paul, is the point here, and that's going to become crucial very soon. But it's not much of a chapter. It could have been incorporated into the one before it or the one after it, except for that point, which is to make the point that Paul is having more and more exposure to the very thing that will make him the Kwisatz Haderach, the spice. So we'll wrap it up there. Not much of a chapter this time around, but we'll move on next time. Plenty of fireworks coming. So I'll wrap this up for now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.